This is rather personal. Not for me, but for you. What do you care about, really? Care. Not just accept or tolerate, I mean care. You could say love almost, in some quiet way. What would I know about such things, I hear you ask? Fair enough. I am careful with my attachments, but you should be too. As we sleepwalk through our days, a lot of what passes for care is no more than being polite. To know what you care about most, imagine yourself in a real-life situation, specifically the 1982 British Airways plane, 747 it was. It lost all 4 engines after flying into an ash cloud above Indonesia. As the cabin began filling with smoke, pilots attempted to restart at least one of the engines to enable a controlled glide into the sea, which wouldn't have been much good either. A story that floated with the plane was that cabin crew handed out pencils and paper to passengers, along with Ziploc plastic bags. What would you have written in those last minutes? I'm not sure anyone wrote a note, and if anything, I might have sketched a bogus treasure map leading to a mysterious clue. But in any case, some engines were restarted, and the jet with its 247 passengers landed on safe ground. I'm guessing, listening to this, you haven't thought of anything that you might want to write. Last words? Love to you all, thinking of you. Don't give dairy to my pet guinea pig, some trivial postcard. We wake each day wanting a pee and focus on the first tea or coffee to replace those liquids. That's what you care about. Then we care about breakfast. There are those who care about breakfast so much that they deny themselves breakfast. Breakfast deniers have a miserable life. Denying yourself anything usually leads to problems. But let's not go down the list of things you care not for. People, places, habits, events you care nothing for and take care to avoid. That's in fact most of everything. And pain you take care to avoid, wisely. Pain is waiting for us all. Let's not go into negatives. We want things to care about. Leaves of green, skies of blue, red roses too. Rainbows, crying like... Thank you, George. Colours do make us feel better, but it's no passion. I care about the electromagnetic spectrum in the visible range. It doesn't bring a rush. Should I take a survey? I don't think there's any need. I've done that. In a 40-year smuggling career, there was lots of jail time. It wasn't always tearing open packages and counting cash, you know. I would have met over 14,000 people, I worked out. People locked up, under pressure. What did they care about? Themselves and no one else, mostly. Though they kept pictures on their cell walls of people they missed. They cared about getting out of the cell to call those people, just to make sure they would visit and send money. Were they any different than most? Not really. In the outside world, we go places to see people and pretend to take an interest in what they pretend to take an interest in. And that is so they will pay you money, so you can wake up warm and have a good breakfast. But we don't care about work, usually. Only that we do not care to be seen screwing it up. That we are admired for our professionalism and skill. Yet behind that is another negative, a fear of failure. I used to think I cared about machines working as designed, if designed well. I was always fixing broken things, tools, machines. Dishwashers are a challenge, I can tell you. Clocks less so. People, no, I made them worse, unfixable. This caring did not serve me well. Perhaps 14% of my waking life lost fixing things that should have been, dumped and bought new. This caring business can and does lead to trouble. Caring for people, a family, essentially a duty. Caring for friends, an option. But sound business as long as the terms are clear. I'll care for you if you'll care for me. So a wise practice, but hardly a passion. If anyone, my dogs care. They really do. Care deeply that when they wake, I let them out for a pee, then feed them. Ziggy really cares about going for a walk in the park at the usual time, a little robot. The excitable Pomeranian barks at the hook, whereupon hangs his lead. It's the anticipation he loves as much as the act. So similar to humans. Of course, all our pet dogs are genetically engineered to be exactly as we want them to be. Over 40,000 years of selective breeding from the first tossed scraps at the ancient campfire. His greatest passion, his most brutal passion, is that the cat does not get to eat. Ever. Cat genocide couldn't come a moment too soon for Viggy. Well, Ziggy, really. He's never gone vegan. If only he knew what that meant. Dogs are so loyal. But it's good to care about something. Zig's got it. There are many of us who are we care passionately about belonging to a group. Clubbable, they used to call it, like the Masons or some golf club with a snooty name. Sharing leisure time with the like-minded people. Patting each other on the back and confirming prejudgments. Not so many clear options, no clubs for the young these days. Well, not unless you count the chasing of social media circles and talk in the way of trendsetters. Turn against purple influencers they do, just at the right moment. There's a lot to it, being right on it. Mock the outsiders, the young must, and reassure yourself. But is that caring, or desperately seeking, nay, researching the language and tone of the most accepted group? It must be difficult for the really accepted group. Includes those who don't belong to any group, the mavericks, outsiders, better still, the outliers who, against expectations, devise something new or magical. Or so the dream goes. I don't really have to tell you that, sadly, this is not caring. It is fear. Some of us watch truly horrible things. Psychologists say it is a way of dealing with our fears. I'm not so sure about that. I suspect those who watch suffering are simply wondering if it will make them care, because so far nothing has, and maybe they turn up the unthinkable dial, hoping they might at last feel something. Personally, I close the page or turn off the screen when horrors come on. I have enough first-person horror burned in. I'll not willingly add to it. Imagine the torment of some creature cursed with the power of visions of every awful act occurring around the world at every given moment in real time. No wonder we are in a godless universe. No one could take that job. I caught someone at a distance some weeks ago standing on the platform at an underground tube station. I saw him watch a passenger moving towards the edge of the incoming tunnel. He thought the guy was going to jump because, well, that's the place where the trains are at their fastest on arrival and where your thoughtful jumper jumps. Well, not thoughtful in a good way, for that's not a nice thing to do to the driver, leaving him with such a memory that even the strongest wiper will not erase. But our observer, he did nothing. He just edged away, so as not to disturb him. Nice. But I could see he was no jumper, the one near the tunnel, and that was a blessing. I would have had to cross from the Jubilee line to the Northern line, and anyone who knows London tubes can tell you that's a real sidetrack. Oh, you're still there thinking about that, caring, waiting patiently for someone who cares to invade your soul. Haven't you got a train to catch? All right. Here's a reward for your endurance. In fact, don't worry about not really caring. It's all about rewards. Ziggy has little chews as rewards, and we have, exploring, discovery, the parade of colourful novelty and the anticipation of rest. Well, that's what I've got. Anticipation of reward is probably better than the adventure itself. A new love, a new land, the reward of offered sex. Often the anticipation is better than the act. Ziggy, on the other hand, gets so excited when the lead goes on, he breaks free, runs in circles, and chews his plastic pig. As for caring, you know what you're supposed to do. All the words ever written, prayers delivered, tears and sentiment come to nothing. It is entirely what we do that counts, and mostly now and not tomorrow. Ziggy, put down that pig. He's our creature, is he not?